Welcome to Conspiracy Q, you guys. Each week, we kind of embark on this, I don't know, this top secret investigation and peel back the layers of history's like most shocking conspiracies, most unbelievable conspiracies.
Yeah.
We know why you're here. You sense it too, the feeling that not everything is as it seems.
Exactly.
And today, we're diving headfirst into a case that has fueled speculation and fear for decades, honestly. The truth behind MJ-12.
Yeah.
What's so fascinating about this one in particular, to you?
I think with this investigation, what's so interesting is how much this narrative has persisted. For over 70 years, right, this story of a secret group, and they're like managing extraterrestrial contact, has refused to die. So like today, you've shared all these recently uncovered or classified sources, and our mission, right, is to dissect this information. Like what stands out?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've got, supposedly leaked documents. We've got witness testimonies, a string of strange coincidences, all from these recently uncovered or classified sources. Let's just forget the official explanations for a second. Let's unpack this and explore the possibility that something really extraordinary happened in 1947, and it's been hidden ever since. Where do we even begin with something like that?
Well, I think we begin with the supposed formation of this group, Majestic 12, MJ-12. Sources point to, July 1947, near Roswell, New Mexico.
Roswell.
Right. Officially a weather balloon, of course.
Right.
But the claim here is that it was something much bigger, something more significant, which led to President Truman, supposedly creating MJ-12 to handle all the implications of extraterrestrial contact. What about these initial reports? What intrigues you most? From your sources, of course.
I think, for me, the immediate reversal of the official story is a huge red flag.
Oh, for sure.
The military initially says flying disc, then almost instantly walks it back, to a weather balloon. I mean, that kind of swift and complete narrative flip, it's unusual. Who or what could have pressured them so quickly to change their tune? And then there's the existence of these alleged top-secret memos. They detail MJ-12's formation. They're supposedly signed by Truman.
Right.
And the claims about their language, about the carbon copy patterns matching 1940s government documents.
Oh.
That's compelling.
It is a crucial point. Your sources, they highlight this argument that forgers, they would have needed an almost encyclopedic knowledge of government communication protocol.
Oh, yeah.
From that era, before many of these archives were even accessible.
Right.
I mean, think about that. To try to perfectly mimic the bureaucratic language of a specific time.
Right.
Without having examples readily available.
Mm-hmm.
And also, nobody claims responsibility for the alleged hoax, which is also strange.
Totally.
What's the motive for this elaborate undertaking if you don't want recognition, if you don't want financial gain?
Right.
And then the FBI, they label these documents bogus, but they continue to investigate them. It's another layer of intrigue.
It is. It is.
If they were so sure it was a hoax, why the continued interest? Makes you wonder.
For sure. These recently uncovered or classified sources, they also get into who these alleged MJ-12 members were. And we're talking serious power players here.
Big time.
Vannevar Bush, the science advisor, I mean, his fingers were in all sorts of classified projects.
Oh, yeah.
Roscoe Hillencutter, the very first CIA director.
Wow.
And James Forrestal, the first Secretary of Defense. What connections do your sources draw between these individuals?
Well, the main link seems to be their high-level access. They had it all: atomic secrets, cutting-edge military technology of the time. The theory is that these individuals, they were considered the most capable to understand and manage the implications of, extraterrestrial contact, especially, as it pertains to national security and, of course, technological advantage. And what's so fascinating here, and maybe even unsettling, is James Forrestal. His death, right. Supposed suicide, a nervous breakdown, falling from a hospital window. But this happened after he allegedly expressed concerns about the secrecy surrounding Roswell. It makes you wonder, if we connect the dots, could his death have been more than just a tragic accident?
It does. Your sources also point to other strange occurrences, inconsistencies, like the alleged missing Truman memo authorizing MJ-12, supposedly verified by handwriting experts. But now it's gone, absent from the National Archives. Lost seems a little too convenient, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, if it was verified.
Right.
And then there's Edward Snowden. He was silent about any alien-related files, despite the massive leaks of NSA data.
Right.
Either these files were so deeply buried, so compartmentalized that even Snowden couldn't access them, or he was explicitly told to stay away. Either way, it suggests a level of secrecy that goes way beyond even typical classified information.
Yeah. And then your sources shift gears a little bit, talking about technological advancements. And they propose a fascinating but controversial connection between the Roswell incident and the rapid emergence of technologies like transistors, fiber optics, lasers, integrated circuits, all in the decades that followed.
Right.
What's the core of this argument?
It's this idea that these weren't just, organic leaps in innovation.
Right.
The timeline, it coincides with the Roswell incident and, of course, the alleged activities of MJ-12. It's presented as more than just a coincidence. The sources suggest reverse engineering, taking this advanced alien technology and adapting it for us for human use. Makes you think about where true innovation comes from.
Yeah. The argument is that these weren't just organic leaps in innovation. The timeline, it coincides with the Roswell incident, with the alleged activities of MJ-12, and this suggests the possibility of reverse-engineered alien technology, that it was seeded into private industry. Your source even mentions Colonel Philip Corso, a former member of Eisenhower's National Security Council. He claimed on record in his memoir that this is exactly what happened, through defense contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't just some fringe website or something. This is a published book by a figure with high-level government experience. It lends some weight to the idea, doesn't it?
It does. Corso's testimony, it provides a direct link from someone within the system to this theory, which is a big deal. What's so fascinating is the detail he provided, allegedly. He talked about specific alien artifacts that were given to research and development teams. So you have to consider, is it possible that our technological progress isn't entirely our own? Think about what that would mean for how we understand our own history of invention.
Yeah. And then it gets a little darker. The sources discuss disappearing witnesses, unexplained deaths.
Right.
Beyond Forrestal, you have the case of Paul Benowitz, the civilian scientist, who thought he was intercepting alien signals. And then he suffered, according to your sources, a targeted disinformation campaign and a mental breakdown. It's unsettling.
It is.
The suggestion is that his investigation was deliberately derailed.
Mm.
And then you have Donna Hare, the NASA contractor who claimed to have seen airbrushed UFO photos. And she faced threats. This all adds to this picture of silencing, of intimidation, and the fact that her accounts have remained consistent over time, that lends a degree of disturbing credibility to it. What does this pattern of events suggest to you about the lengths that some might go to keep these secrets?
I think this pattern, if it's accurate, suggests a systematic effort, right? To control information, to suppress dissenting voices, to derail independent investigations.
Right.
The disinformation campaigns supposedly against Benowitz, that's especially disturbing. It hints at psychological manipulation to discredit someone publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And Hare, her claims of photographic evidence being altered within NASA, coupled with threats, it paints a picture of a very serious operation, possibly even illegal. For the average person, this raises questions about trust, about the integrity of information channels.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So then our recently uncovered or classified sources outline alleged cover-up operations, starting with Project Blue Book. Publicly it was presented as a UFO study. But the claim here is that its true purpose was to debunk, to discredit UFO sightings. And the fact that you have high-level Air Force whistleblowers, that they've supposedly confirmed this, that adds weight to that suspicion. And then there's the FOIA blackouts. Entire pages redacted in documents related to MJ-12, Roswell. If it's all fake, as the official narrative suggests, why the secrecy? Why all this secrecy, even decades later? And then the NSA admits to holding over 150 UFO-related documents. But none of them have been released unredacted. They cite national security. It makes you wonder what they're hiding. What's your take on these alleged cover-up tactics?
I think it's the scale and the duration of these alleged tactics.
Yeah.
Project Blue Book, despite how it was presented to the public, it's long been suspected of serving a debunking purpose.
Right.
The FOIA redactions, those are a classic example of government controlling information, right, under the guise of national security. And the NSA admission, that's a formal acknowledgement, of a significant amount of UFO-related documentation. And they're saying it's too sensitive to release. It's fascinating. And after all these years, why would this information still be a threat?
Great.
If it's all just misidentified weather balloons and things like that, makes you wonder.
It does. It does. And then your sources bring in some international perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
The UK's Ministry of Defense, France's Cometa report, even Russia's KGB archives, they've reportedly referenced similar phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
Structured craft, unusual flight dynamics, non-human intelligences. And this is presented as validation. Like, if MJ-12 is just an American myth, why would other governments all over the globe be dealing with similar issues, using comparable language? What does this global consistency suggest to you?
Well, I think it adds credibility to the whole thing, you know? If all these different governments, different agencies, if they're all observing similar things, it suggests that whatever it is, it's not just a U.S. phenomenon,
Yeah.
or mass delusion in one country. All these reports, they're converging, even with different levels of official acknowledgement. It points to something that's truly unexplained.
Right.
And I think that's pretty compelling.
It is. It is. The sources also look at the debunkers, specifically Philip Klass and his alleged ties to the CIA.
Mm.
And the suggestion is that some of these most vocal skeptics might have had their own interests in maintaining the official narrative. They highlight the tactic of relying on mockery, on omission, instead of scientific counter-evidence to debunk these things. What do you make of that, this scrutiny of the debunkers?
It raises a good question, right, about the objectivity of some of these people in the debunking movement.
Right.
If they're actively working to discredit UFO phenomena and they have ties to agencies, that's a potential conflict of interest. It could be a coordinated disinformation campaign on the other side. And to rely on ridicule, instead of scientific analysis, that's often used to shut down inquiry. It doesn't actually address the evidence. It's a reminder that we should critically evaluate all sources of information, even those claiming to debunk theories.
So finally, your sources bring up the possibility that MJ-12, or at least its purpose, might still exist today, just under a different name, maybe within these unacknowledged special access programs, USAPs, these black budget operations that operate outside of normal congressional oversight. They mentioned Luis Elizondo, formerly of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. He stated that UFOs are real and that some related files, they're locked down, even from within the Pentagon. So where does all this leave us today?
It suggests that the secrecy is still going on, maybe under a different structure.
Right.
But USAPs, those provide a framework, a plausible framework for how such a sensitive operation could continue without public knowledge, without full congressional oversight. Elizondo's statements, they're pretty significant. Coming from someone who was involved in investigating this within the Department of Defense, it lends weight to the idea that this is ongoing, that information is being concealed. And I think that's something that everyone should be concerned about.
So we've looked at all this alleged evidence from these recently uncovered or classified sources, the documents, the testimonies, the strange occurrences, the cover-ups, the global echoes, and we're left with the question that your sources pose. If it's all fake, why the fear? Why redact so many documents? Why intimidate witnesses? Why keep information classified for over 75 years?
The conclusion your sources present is pretty stark. The efforts to deny, to conceal the MJ-12 narrative, it just strengthens the case for its authenticity. The deeper you go, the more inconsistencies, more unexplained events you find. All these coincidences, it starts to look like a deliberate program of secrecy. Something to think about.
Definitely. MJ-12, as it was initially conceived, may no longer exist. But your sources suggest it, or something like it, has gone deeper, operating in the shadows, still watching the skies. What stands out to you from all of this? What really lingers in your mind?
It's the way all these seemingly independent threads, they all come together. The details in the early documents, the consistent accounts from witnesses over so many years, the technological leaps, the efforts to suppress information. Each piece on its own, you could dismiss it.
Right.
But together it paints a very compelling picture. It's unsettling, but it's compelling. What does it suggest to you, to our listener? What's the most plausible explanation for all this? These claims, these strange occurrences? Makes you wonder.
Our top secret investigation into MJ-12, based on these sources, has really only scratched the surface. We've only gotten a glimpse into this world of alleged secrecy, potential contact. And the implications, if even a small part of this is true, they're huge. Rate and follow Conspiracy Q to stay locked in on the truth. Because the questions surrounding MJ-12, they remain. And maybe somewhere out there, more answers are waiting to be discovered. Keep questioning.